You know, it's pretty amazing. The number of Americans whose lives have been ended by climate change is accelerating dramatically. That's the key revelation in a new report out just this morning from the National League of Cities. And some of the details that it shows are just really chilling. I mean, in 2020 alone, 1.7 million Americans were forced out of their homes by weather-related disasters. And in just the summer of that year, nearly 1 in 3 Americans lived in a county that directly experienced a weather-related disaster, like a hurricane or a tornado. And 1 in 7 Americans experienced dangerous levels of air quality from wildfire smoke. I'd like to bring in Clarence, CEO and Executive Director of the National League of Cities. Clarence, thank you so much for being with us. You know, so alarming, this report that the most climate-endangered areas are becoming more populated. Are those cities properly preparing for what is going to happen to them?
Yeah, well, it's a great question, and that's one of the questions that we are preparing our members to ask themselves and develop a plan around it. Because what we are seeing is that, you know, all of those residents are not really economically able to move, and it is having a major impact on these communities. And so we've asked our members to really put themselves into 3 categories and assess their ability to be able to address those issues. The 3 categories are: you're a vulnerable city, are you a recipient city, or you're a climate destination. And if you can answer those through, you know, specific planning, if you're vulnerable, you lack your high hazard areas, and you lack the financial resources to adapt to the climate change, and then your job losses that will occur. But it really does hurt mostly the poor people that can't just pick up and move. And if you're a recipient city and community, you often are small, mid-size, you own, you know, very little resources to be able to provide the housing and affordable housing and other related stress. And then the climate destination communities, those are those that will get people in their community. They may face decline, but they may be in much better position to leverage the resources they have. So it's about learning how to get ready, because these climate actions are occurring. Our home state of Florida, I'm from South Florida, West Palm Beach. Clearly, we need to look at the South Florida Compact that we created in South Florida between Monroe, Broward, Dade, and Palm Beach County as a way of planning for our communities as it relates to the climate impact.
Yeah, and you know, Clarence, I'm so glad you mentioned that because I think there's clearly a disproportionate impact on the climate crisis is having on our communities.
Yeah, no question. I mean, the communities of color and the issue of equity around this. You know, I'm blessed that, you know, when I was in South Florida, and I still am there some days, if there's a hurricane, I can have a short-term displacement impact on my life. But those that are in the center of a hurricane, fire impact, they don't have that option to just get up and move to another community. And so what this report does is says to you, what actions should you take? How can you plan for affordable housing? How can you plan for environmental impact? Flooding in our home state of, you know, Florida, again, Miami area, South Beach, Miami Beach. Those are big questions, but the thing of this plan, it really asks the municipal leaders, are you ready? What kinds of actions should you be taking? And how will your residents be impacted? And so if they can answer those questions and start planning and putting together a plan, I think the residents will be in great shape. And the phenomenon of migrating in America is not new. You know, we've always had migration for different reasons. The 60s, blacks migrated to more urban communities. In the 60s as well, the invention of air conditioning brought so many people to the Sun Belt states. They weren't prepared then, and neither are we now, but we are getting ready for it, and we can't always say this is about the next generation. This is about us today. This is about us getting ready to be able to, when it happens, have a plan and actually consider the residents first.
Clarence Anthony, thank you for always thinking about the people, the residents first. I really appreciate you being with me this morning. Thanks.
Thank you for the opportunity.